know why we call ourselves niggas?
So you actually use that term niggers? Isn't that a derogatory term? I mean,
No,
American
nigger is the derogatory term. Niggas isn't.
The N word to me, now this is my own self and what I feel, me. I think the N word is something like pig feet. You know what I mean? We took pig feet. We wasn't supposed to eat anything that any pig offered, but we turned pig feet into a delicacy. So it's the same effect as just on the N word to me. I'm not sitting up here saying promote the word nigga, but what I'm saying, it is part of our culture, and we took the word nigger to nigga, which would now we greet each other as people. So, that's understood. Do I feel like that it shouldn't be said on some certain instances? Of course. You know what I'm saying? I don't think two white dudes should be saying the word nigga. It didn't come from them, and it derived from them, and it shouldn't come from them.
Nigga, please, she was smiling at me, not you.
You? That's right. Man, she's way too happening for a nigga like you.
And the somebody else that's doing it, it's not just any somebody else. If a black person calls a Mexican a spick, and the Mexican replied by calling them a nigga, it wouldn't be as volatile as it would be if that was a situation between or black and white, or Mexican and white. But when you take a term that the dominant culture coins, and you claim it as your own, and then they use that same term against you, you really don't have a right to complain about it.
Frankly, black people were in control of the word, you know what I mean, in general. Perhaps we shouldn't even be using it at all, so that it doesn't seem like other people can use it, other races can use it. So, but I mean, white people, come on, man. Like, that's not the business right there. So I'm totally against it. I totally think that's wrong. And if whatever needs to be happen to them justly and fairly needs to happen, period.
We took something that was said to us and turned it into a hello. You know what I mean? It's like a foreign language. It's a lot of things that we do that we take in, of into a negative, into a positive, and that was one of those things. The word nigga. So will I continue to keep saying what up, my nigga? Of course. So all the niggas out there, be niggas and be good niggas.
Does it add to racism? Does it in fact demean? Does it in fact disgrace? Does it in fact begin to castigate and limit people's options and abilities, or even self-image? And I think that's sometimes the thing. Words hurt, but I think sometimes it is the impact of those words that we tend to gloss over and not understand that many of these words are part of institutional racism, and some that are created by blacks themselves.
Niggas ain't acting like colored people.
Mama, what am I? What are you? What do you mean, baby? A boy at school said I wasn't colored. Don't you pay no attention to that. You are too colored. Well, why are most colored people darker than me? Baby, that's because you're light-skinned colored. Light-skinned colored? Yes, baby. Now go outside and play so Mama can finish cooking. Yay! I'm colored!
As a black community, first of all, one of my teachers taught me this when I was a student advocate. We're sick. We're schizophrenic by nature because we live in two worlds. Our world, black world, and we live in the white society. So we're schizophrenic by nature. And until we admit that to ourselves, hey girl, we on TV, hi. Until we admit that to ourselves, we're gonna be having problems. For instance, racism, institutionalized racism, has made some blacks, darker skinned blacks, look disfavorably on lighter skinned blacks, and some lighter skinned blacks look disfavorably on darker skinned blacks because they're trying to pass or be accepted and don't want to identify with their black roots and culture. So again, as when I say have open, honest dialogue, that includes black folks. It's not just white folks. That includes the whole brown, yellow, red. We all need to come to the table and look at these issues and be honest and open and look at the historical ramifications of how institutionalized racism from slavery has led us to where we are. And if we keep saying the elephant ain't in the room while the elephant is stepping on us and spraying us with his trunk, then, we're going to get what we asked for.
The light-skinned black versus the dark-skinned black. Right. And I would say back in the day, that was prevalent, and because it was that whole mentality of divide and conquer. Do you think that's still prevalent today? Like, right now with today's youth? And
I think it's a vestige of the civil rights movement and the whole era of segregation, where the closer you were to white, the more acceptable you were, the more you were felt that you had the opportunity to be successful. And I think that we have moved beyond that. I think that there is still certainly ethnic division, but I don't think color is as much of a defining characteristic as it was, say, 30 years ago.
do you think that black people internalize the brown paper bag test? That we still dealing with that today? Or
Yeah.
that's a dead issue? It's a done deal.
I don't think it's ever going to be a done deal until we can look in the mirror, no matter what color we are, no matter what our features look like, and still find beauty. Until we can do that, it's going to always be an issue. The girls on the playground still today, the light-skinned little girls, still have issues with dark-skinned little girls, and vice versa. There's a girl out of New York that did a project similar to this, where she asked a 6-year-old, 2 dolls, a white doll and a black doll, which doll do you like? She picked up the black doll. And they went through a series of questions, and then she asked her, which doll looks more like you? And she reached for the white doll, but she had to take the black doll. And when she picked that doll up, she slid it across the table like it was the most horrific thing she'd ever had to experience in her life. And this is 2006.
I mean, it's the old Willie Lynch syndrome, which goes back when the masters would have the house Negro working against the field Negro, so to speak. So all of that has been, and then it's been in our DNA for centuries. You know, the lighter-skinned blacks or the quote-unquote house Negroes would be given more favor as opposed to the field, which Malcolm X so eloquently talks about in Message to the Grassroots. So again, it's all about looking at it historically, looking at the information factually and as objectively as possible. We know race stirs up a lot of emotions, i.e. the whole Kramer incident. Everybody's all pissed off. Well, to me, I think it's great everybody's all pissed off, but they should be more pissed off about what's going on. I applaud Jesse Jackson and them coming forward and say, yeah, let's ban him. But what about this violence and all the bigger issues? I'm glad old boy said what he said. I'm not that mad at it. In fact, I want some more white people to come up and say what's really on their mind.
Even when we've had our worst fights, you've never called me nigger.
That doesn't mean it never crossed my mind.
If you look back on our hair history, you can see the impact of racism. I just don't believe it's fair to judge someone by saying they have good hair. We're all color struck with racism, all of us. Black folk, racism had us bleaching our skin and frying our hair.
Darker skinned blacks and lighter skinned blacks for years have been freed, and you heard terms like good hair and all that. What do you feel about all that?
Good hair. This is real hair, okay? I'm locked up. I'm gonna stay locked up. As long as they got my brothers locked up,
no
I'm
perm,
staying
no
locked
chemicals
up.
or anything.
Do you think when people do Friday hair and all that, is that a way of saying they don't like their natural black hair?
Yep.
Yes, they're insecure about who they are.
And we can also call each other's brothers and sisters to greet each other instead of niggers and nigger, and you know, there's other positive
that's a
ways
good
to
point.
greet each other.
That's a good point.
Lacey, can we all just get along?
Yes, ma'am. Just like Rodney King. Don't wait to get your ass kicked to say, let's all get along. They whooped their ass and then he said, let's all get along. Live here at City Center. Stay tuned. We got more coming up. Don't go nowhere.